everyone, hope you all are well. Welcome to the English Academy. In this video, we are going to start the play script A Christmas Carol written by Charles Dickens. And here we have the Act 1, Scene 1 of the Carol. The location of the Scene 1 is the offices of Scrooge and Marley. And if you have seen the video of the introduction to the characters, so you must know that Scrooge is a businessman and Marley was his business partner, but he is no more. So Scrooge is now the sole owner of the business and he is also a miser person. Carol singers are singing carols outside the office because Christmas is around the corner and Cratchit is narrating the story. So let's start. Scrooge. Humbug. The carol singers scatter and Scrooge returns to his workstation. Cratchit gathers up coins in a hat and goes towards his desk. Cratchit. Ebenezer Scrooge was an interesting sort of man. He wasn't necessarily the warmest of people. He rather preferred the cold, and for a person of considerable wealth, he wasn't inclined to share it with those in need. In fact, he had something of a reputation in London, both as a shrewd businessman and a miserly old git. So, students, in the very first scene of the act, we came to know that Cratchit is telling us Ebenezer Scrooge is not interested in any of the charities. He is not interested to give money to the people who are needy. Somehow his reputation is not that much good, but he is considered as a very clever businessman and a miser person. Scrooge, wah! Quit your blundering, Cratchit. Now get to work lest you spend your Christmas seeking alternative employment. Cratchit was saying something to himself, so Scrooge caught him up and said to him that you are supposed to get back to your work before you are going to seek another job because Scrooge will fire him. Yes, Mr. Scrooge. Right away, Mr. Scrooge. Fred enters. Merry Christmas, Uncle. Merry Christmas, Bob Cratchit. Cratchit. Merry Christmas to you, Fred. How is your lovely wife? Radiant as ever, my dear man, and give me my very best to your darling family. Many thanks, Fred, and I. One word more out of you, Cratchit, and I shall make good on yesterday's threat to use your wage packet as fuel for the fire. In this scene, on this page, we have seen that Scrooge and Cratchit were there in the office. Meanwhile, Fred enters and he wished Cratchit and his family a very Merry Christmas. When Scrooge saw them talking, so he said to the Cratchit that you are supposed to better get back to your work. Otherwise, I will consume your salary. I will take your wage in order to purchase fuel for the fire. The fire which they actually burn in their office in order to get rid of the cold. Fred, come now, uncle. Where is your festive spirit? Have you forgotten what day it is? It is a Friday and in this office it is a regular working day unlike the rest of this God-forsaken city. Come now, Uncle Ebenezer, you know full well it is Christmas Eve and I am quite sure you know why I am here. Every year I come here on December 24 hoping that you will join me and my darling wife for a spot of Christmas dinner, and every year you say you keep Christmas in your way, Frederick, and I will keep it in mine. But you don't keep it, uncle. I am quite sure you will sit in your armchair before your half-hearted fire, eating your usual bowl of gruel. Join us, uncle, please. We have ordered a sumptuous goose and as many bottles of fine cider as you could imagine gathering through in one day. What would compel a man to spend a full month's wages on a nonsense such as Christmas? It's Christmas. What more does one need to be merry? Merry? What reason have you to be merry? You are poor enough. What reason have you to be miserable? You are rich enough. You have said your piece, sir, and I shall now say mine. It things me to see fools such as you up to your necks in debt, prancing around this earth pretending that just for a day there are no problems, that everything is merry and light. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holy through his heart. Good afternoon. There is good to be had in the company of others. You would do well to remember that. Right here, there is a heated argument between Fred and Scrooge. Fred came to invite Scrooge. As per every year, he comes to invite him for a Christmas party, but Scrooge is a cold hearted person. He, in a very harsh way, denied the Fred's invitation to the party, and he said that he is actually can't understand that why people spend such a big amount of money on these type of festivals, although they are having not that much money to eat. So Fred said that you are having enough money to spend, so why aren't you spending? But there was not a particular conclusion to their argument, and Scrooge was very stubborn one. He did not accept his invitation at all. What good can be had in the company of others? Does company put food on your table? No, it does not. Much good has it ever done you. Actually, Scrooge was saying that he does not like to sit in anyone's company to waste time, and Fred was the one who was compelling him that it is good sometimes to sit among the people, to share your happiness, to have some gossips or have some talk with each other. But Scrooge was saying that can be had in the company of others. Does company put food on your table? There are many things in life which do not yield a profit, and although Christmas has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good, and I say God bless it. Fred said that it is not necessary that all the time we have to think about the profit. We have to think about the things or the places that can yield us a profit. No, it is not only about the material wealth, but it is all about spreading the happiness, sharing the happiness. Scrooge, you are quite a powerful speaker, sir. It's a wonder you don't go into parliament. It was a sarcastic comment given by Scrooge to Fred. You will come then? Then Fred asked, if I'll be a member of parliament, so will you come there? Bah, humbug. Humbug means nonsense. And a happy new year. Charity worker 1 and 2 enter the office, interrupting Fred. Fred puts on his scarf and goes towards the exit. Right here, Fred has been gone from the office, and there is a new entry of charity workers. Good day, sir. Do I have the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley? Fred, neither, sir. I am just leaving, but you will find Mr. Scrooge behind his desk. A Merry Christmas to you. The offer is tense, Uncle. Merry Christmas, Mr. Cratchit. When, while Fred was leaving, charity workers came and he asked him that may they meet Scrooge and Marley. So Fred said that I am just leaving, and again he said Merry Christmas to Scrooge and Cratchit. Merry Christmas, Fred, said by Cratchit. Good afternoon. Fred exits. Charity worker 1 approaches Scrooge's desk. Mr. Scrooge, I assume a pleasure to make your acquaintance. And Mr. Marley? I see. Mr. Marley has left for Christmas already. No. Should we be expecting him to join us? We will expect nothing, sir, at least of all the presence of Jacob Marley, for he has been dead these past 7 years. In fact, he died 7 years ago on this very night. Actually, charity workers were not aware that Marley is no more, so Scrooge make them understand that you cannot find him anywhere because he is no more, he has been died. Well, I am certainly sorry to hear that, sir. May his soul rest in peace. I trust that his good nature lives on his surviving partner. We are indeed of similar character, sir. Oh, very good indeed. Actually, Marley was a nice person, right? But somehow he was having some negative aspects as well. We will come to know about it later. But right now, charity workers saying that may you have some of the character or some of the good nature of your former partner as well. So Cratchit said, yes, indeed, I am of similar character to him. Mr. Scrooge, all this time of year, there are a great many people throughout the city who suffer terribly. With little food or warmth, many people need the support of those who are in a position to help. It is for this reason we have come to you today. Many thousands are in want of common necessities. Actually, this is the time when there is much cold in London, and there are so many people who suffered starvation as well, who are starving, who are hungry, and they do not have proper shelter to keep themselves protect from this extreme cold weather. So they were there in order to ask for some charity, some donation, any sort of these things, so they can help the needy people. Indeed, many thousand more are in want of basic comforts. It is our wish that you may offer them a little hope at this most difficult time. So, what should we put you down for? Nothing. You wish to remain anonymous. I wish to be left alone. Actually, charity workers were asking him that what are you donating, so they can write it down on their in their register or somewhere. So they asked Scrooge, so what they are supposed to write. Scrooge answered nothing. So charity workers thought that he wants to remain anonymous. Anonymous means unknown. He does not want to show his name. I wish to be left alone, it is said by Scrooge. Mr. Scrooge, the charity workers were very surprised. Are there no prisons? Mr. Scrooge, and the workhouses are still in operation? They are, sir, regrettably so. Ah, from your pitiful appeal, I assume that the usual haunts for the poor and lowly had all but disappeared. Mr. Scrooge, you are one of the fortunate few who are in a position to help those who struggle every day just to maintain the most basic existence. Scrooge was asking them some very, unusual questions. He was asking that aren't there prisons, workhouses there? So they are actually the places that are very tough to live. So, charity workers said that you are one of the fortunate people that have wealth, that have money, that have tendency or capacity to help others. That's why they are here, in order to, get something for those who are struggling every day to maintain even the most basic necessities of their life. The cold and hunger affect many thousands of people, and I really should mind my own business, as should you. You ask that I, a man who has worked his whole life to attain a fortune such as it is, would give to those who cannot be bothered to work a full day for an honest man's pay. The prisons and workhouses offer the basic necessities that you ask for, and it is my taxes that cover that particular expense. Therefore, sir, I have given am I willing to give, and indeed all I should be expected to give. Right here, Scrooge became a bit angry. He's saying that, are you supposing me to give my hard-earned money and the taxes I am paying to the government who is actually using and consuming it to have prisons or workhouses? I am already giving so much, and do not expect anything else from me even. Mr. Scrooge, many would rather die than go to the workhouses. Workhouses are a very tough place. They are very congested one. There are so many people over there who have to work hard, who have to work for hours to gain some, you can say, few pennies. And those who are the old ones, who are the hungry ones, they are not that much capable enough to work in the workhouses. Charity worker is trying to make him understand, if they would rather die, may they do it and decrease the surplus population. Good day to you, gentlemen. Scrooge is saying that if they are dying of hunger, so it is very best that they are going to less the population, and he wished them a very good afternoon. I told you to live in peace. Scrooge very harshly denied the charity workers to pay something. Then carol singing boys were there who were singing outside the office, and I suppose you will be expecting the full day tomorrow. Now it's Cratchit's turn, and he asked Cratchit that, are you expecting that I'm gonna give you a full day off tomorrow because tomorrow is Christmas? It is Christmas, sir. That may be so Cratchit, but it is a poor excuse to expect an employer to pay a day's wages to an absent employee. According to Scrooge, it is not the valid reason for a absent and for a actually paid holiday. It is only once a year, Mr. Scrooge, which makes it no better, Cratchit. If you expect a day of tomorrow, I shall expect you all the earlier the following day. Scrooge has imposed a condition over here that if Cratchit wants off on Christmas Day, a holiday, so he is supposed to come earlier the very next day of the Christmas. That means on 26th December he has to be earlier. Thank you, Mr. Scrooge, and a very merry. Cratchit realizes the futility of wishing Scrooge. Thank you, Mr. Scrooge, and a very merry. Cratchit realizes the futility of wishing Scrooge a Merry Christmas. Futility means uselessness and runs off in delight. Scrooge puts on his coat and hat and blows out the remaining candle in his office. Cratchit was about to wish him a Merry Christmas, but suddenly he realizes that it is of no use, so he ran away in delight. Whereas Scrooge blows out all the candles in the office and he left the office for his apartment. I hope that the scene 1 is clear to everyone. If you have still any query, you can ask me in comment section. In our next video, we will start Act 1, Scene 2. Till then, keep watching the videos. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Take care. Bye-bye.